Ethan stood at the edge of the arena, feeling the ground shake with every shout from the crowd above. There were so many different voices. Some were human, but most were from species he could not even name. Their faces were strange, with colors and shapes he never saw before. Their eyes looked down on him with curiosity, some with laughter. He heard a few people laugh at him, calling him the Earth Boy. Others whispered that humans never should have been allowed to enter the tournament. Ethan did not look at them. He kept his eyes forward and remembered why he was here. He held the small metal ring on his finger, the one his little sister gave him before he left Earth. She told him to wear it for luck. She said it would bring him home. He thought about her now, sitting in their small apartment, watching the games, on a shaky screen, hoping for her big brother to come home safe and proud. Ethan took a slow breath. The arena was much bigger than anything he had trained in. It looked like a giant bowl, made from smooth stone with lights shining down. The air was filled with the smell of dust and metal. In the center there was a circle marked by glowing lines. That was where the fight would happen. Across from him stood Lyra. She was tall and fast, her skin a deep blue, and her silver hair pulled back in a tight braid. She wore armor that shimmered like water. Lyra was not just another fighter, she was the champion of her clan. People called her the Dancing Storm. She moved with a kind of beauty that made even the hardest warriors stare. She had beaten dozens of fighters before, and everyone expected her to win again. Lyra glanced at Ethan and gave him a small, cold smile. She did not think much of him. No one did. Humans had joined the galaxy only a few years ago. Most people thought they were too weak, too emotional, too slow to matter in a real fight. Ethan knew what they were thinking. He did not let it bother him. A loud voice came over the speakers, speaking in 3 different languages at once, so everyone could understand. The rules were simple: no weapons, no killing, and no leaving the ring. The fight would end if someone gave up or could not stand anymore. Ethan listened carefully. He had learned the rules in training, but hearing them here, in front of the whole galaxy, made it feel real. The announcer said the fighters' names. The crowd cheered for Lyra. They barely noticed Ethan. He heard one person shout, "He won't last a minute." Lyra stepped into the ring with confidence, her feet barely making a sound on the smooth floor. Ethan followed, feeling every step. The judge, a tall alien with 4 arms and golden eyes, raised one hand to start the fight. Ethan nodded. He felt the blood rushing in his ears. He remembered his teacher back on Earth, an old man who taught him how to fight. The old man always said, "Stay simple, watch, listen, wait. Never be the first to act unless you must." Ethan repeated those words in his head as the bell sounded. Lyra started first. She moved quickly, her body light as air. She spun and jumped, her hands ready to strike. Her feet barely touched the ground as she danced around Ethan, testing his defenses. She struck out with her left hand, quick as lightning, but Ethan blocked it with his forearm. The crowd cheered for her speed. Ethan did not move much. He kept his stance small, feet planted, hands up. He watched Lyra's eyes, her shoulders, the way her hips turned before each attack. He let her make the first moves. She was fast, but he saw a pattern. Every time she attacked, she left her side open for just a moment. Lyra tried to impress the crowd with spinning kicks and high jumps. She looked beautiful and dangerous. Ethan moved only when he needed to, dodging a kick, stepping back from a punch. His style looked strange to the aliens. It was not like the sharp, pretty moves they were used to. To them, he looked stiff, almost scared. But Ethan was not scared. He was waiting. He remembered every lesson his teacher gave him. He kept his arms close, saving his energy. He listened to Lyra's breathing, heard her feet tap the ground. After a few minutes, Lyra grew bold. She smiled at Ethan, thinking he was tired. She shouted something in her own language. The crowd laughed. Ethan did not understand the words, but he knew she was showing off. She wanted to end the fight with one big move. Lyra ran at him, twisting her body in the air. Her leg came up in a spinning kick, aimed at Ethan's head. It was fast and strong. Most people would try to block it or jump away. Ethan did neither. He waited until the last second, then stepped in closer, inside the arc of her leg. He used his left arm to guide her kick past him, and with his right hand, he pushed her shoulder gently, using her own speed against her. Lyra stumbled, almost falling. The crowd gasped. For the first time, she looked surprised. Ethan did not follow up with another attack. He stepped back, hands up, ready again. Lyra stared at him. Her silver eyes were wide. She took a deep breath and asked in clear, careful English, "What was that move?" Her voice was not mocking. She truly wanted to know. Ethan gave a small smile and answered softly, "My first." For a moment there was silence. The crowd did not know what to think. Lyra was supposed to be the winner, the hero. Ethan was just a human, but he had stopped her best attack with a move no one had seen before. Whispers started in the stands. Some people wondered if humans were not as weak as they thought. The judge nodded for the fight to continue. Lyra's face grew serious. She realized now that Ethan was not just a beginner. She moved slower, watching him more carefully. The next few attacks were simple, more like tests. She wanted to see how he would react. Ethan met each one with a simple block or dodge. He did not waste energy. He was not trying to show off. He only did what was needed, nothing more. His eyes never left Lyra. He knew she was clever. She would try something new soon. Lyra's clan watched from the stands, their faces tight with worry. They did not want to see their champion beaten by a human. One of her trainers shouted advice, but Lyra did not answer. She was starting to respect Ethan. She realized he fought with his mind as much as his body. The first round ended with both fighters standing, breathing hard. The judge called for a short break. Lyra walked to her corner, thinking deeply. Ethan stayed where he was, breathing slowly, calming his heart. He thought about Earth, about his sister, about all the people who believed humans could never be equal in this galaxy. He remembered his teacher's last words, "Never be afraid to be yourself, even if no one understands you." As he looked at the crowd, he saw a few faces change. Some aliens looked at him with new respect. Even if he lost, he knew he had shown them something new. He knew this was just the beginning. Ethan stood tall, waiting for the next round, ready to show them more. Ethan stood quietly in the center of the arena while the judge called for a short break. The crowd was not as loud now. Many people were talking in low voices, looking at Ethan in a new way. He could feel their eyes on him, wondering who this human really was. Ethan took a slow breath, focusing on the floor under his feet. He did not let the attention distract him. He thought of his sister again, hoping she was watching and maybe feeling a little proud. Lyra moved to her side of the ring. She felt embarrassed and angry at first, but now she was curious. She did not expect a human to surprise her like this. She sat on a small bench, her coach and clan members around her, speaking quickly in their language. They told her she needed to finish the fight and not let the human make her look weak. Lyra nodded but did not look at them. She kept her eyes on Ethan, thinking about his calm face and simple moves. One of her trainers leaned close and whispered, "Be careful. He is not like the others. Do not take any risks." Lyra understood the warning. She had watched many fights in her life. Most humans who entered these tournaments lost quickly because they tried to win with big, wild moves. But Ethan was different. He was patient, careful, and smart. She decided to change her own strategy. She would not let her pride control her. The judge raised a hand and called both fighters back to the center. Ethan walked slowly, still looking calm. Lyra stood tall, her blue skin shining under the arena lights. The judge looked at them both and nodded. The bell sounded, and the fight began again. This time Lyra did not rush. She moved carefully, circling Ethan, looking for a weakness. She made small attacks, a jab here, a low kick there, just to test him. Ethan blocked each one with the same simple style. He did not try to strike back. He was still waiting, watching her, just like before. The crowd grew quiet as they watched the strange dance between the two fighters. Some people leaned forward in their seats, wanting to see something new. They were not cheering as loudly for Lyra anymore. Even her own clan was silent, unsure of what would happen next. Lyra tried to push Ethan, forcing him to the edge of the ring. She wanted to make him feel trapped, but Ethan moved just enough to stay out of trouble. He kept his feet light, never letting himself get stuck in one place. He remembered his teacher's words, "Never let your opponent control your space, always keep an exit." Lyra grew frustrated. She used to win her fights by showing off her skills, making her opponents nervous until they made mistakes, but Ethan was not getting nervous. He was not making any mistakes. She decided to try something new. Suddenly, Lyra leapt forward with a fast double punch, then spun low for a sweeping kick. The move was quick and dangerous. Ethan blocked the punches with his arms, then jumped over her kick, landing lightly on his feet. For a moment, their faces were very close. Lyra saw that Ethan was not afraid at all. Ethan used the chance to step in and tap Lyra's shoulder, then slipped away before she could catch him. It was not a hard hit, but it showed the crowd that he could touch her without being caught. The crowd gasped and then started to clap. For the first time, some people cheered for Ethan. Lyra's face grew red with embarrassment. She knew she could not let him win. She attacked again, her moves even faster, but Ethan stayed calm, blocking and dodging. Every time she tried something big, he found a way to avoid it or turn it against her. The round went on for many minutes. Both fighters were breathing hard, sweat shining on their faces. Ethan felt tired but focused. He knew he could not stop now. He looked for any sign of weakness in Lyra's moves. He noticed she was getting tired too, her attacks slower than before. Suddenly, Lyra changed her plan. She stopped attacking and stepped back, holding up her hands. The crowd grew quiet, not sure what she was doing. Lyra looked at Ethan and said, "You are very good. You fight with your mind as much as your body. I did not expect that from a human." Ethan smiled and answered, "Thank you. I just do what I was taught. Keep it simple." Lyra nodded, respect in her eyes. For a moment, the two fighters stood in silence, each studying the other. The judge looked at them, waiting. Then Lyra said, "Let's give them a real show." Ethan agreed with a nod. They began again, both moving with new energy. Lyra used moves she learned from years of training, sharp and beautiful. Ethan kept using his simple style, blocking, dodging, and waiting for the right moment. The fight turned into a test of skill, each one pushing the other to do better. The crowd started to cheer again, not just for Lyra, but for both fighters. People shouted Ethan's name, amazed by his courage and clever moves. Even some of Lyra's clan began to clap for him. As the round neared its end, Lyra tried her most powerful attack. She spun in the air, aiming a kick at Ethan's head. Ethan saw it coming and ducked under her leg, grabbing her ankle and spinning her around. Lyra landed on her feet but stumbled back, almost falling out of the ring. The crowd stood up, amazed. No one had ever seen Lyra so close to losing her balance. Ethan did not chase her. He waited for her to return, still calm. Lyra straightened and walked back to the center. She breathed deeply, smiling a little. "You are the first one to do that to me?" she said. Ethan shrugged. "Maybe I just got lucky." Lyra laughed, a clear sound that echoed in the arena. She raised her hands and nodded to the judge. The round ended, and the judge called for another short break. Ethan walked to his side, wiping sweat from his face. His friends in the stands waved at him, giving him a thumbs up. He felt proud, knowing he was doing something no human had done before. Lyra's clan talked in worried voices, but Lyra told them to be quiet. She wanted to finish the fight her way, with respect for her opponent. She sat on her bench, thinking about how much she had learned from this human. Ethan sat on the floor, closing his eyes for a moment. He remembered his sister's words, "Don't let them scare you, just do your best." He felt her spirit with him, giving him strength. The judge called them back for the final round of the day. Ethan stood up, shaking out his arms and legs. Lyra did the same. They met in the center, looking at each other with new respect. The bell sounded and the fight began again. This time, they moved together, trading attacks and blocks, each learning from the other. The crowd watched in awe, seeing something special, two fighters from different worlds, showing what was possible when you mixed courage and skill. Ethan found himself smiling as he fought. He realized he was having fun. He forgot about being nervous or afraid. He just focused on the fight, on each moment, each move. Lyra noticed the change and smiled too. She tried one last big attack, a spinning elbow meant to end the fight. Ethan saw it coming and ducked low, grabbing her arm and twisting gently. Lyra let out a surprised laugh as she landed softly on her knees. The judge raised his hand and ended the round. Both fighters stood, breathing hard, sweat dripping from their faces. The crowd clapped and cheered for both of them, shouting their names. Ethan and Lyra shook hands in the center of the ring. Lyra leaned close and whispered, "I hope you're ready for tomorrow." "I still want to see what you can really do," Ethan grinned. "Maybe you'll see my last move then." They walked out of the ring side by side, no longer just opponents, but something like friends. The crowd watched them go, many people thinking for the first time that humans could be great fighters too. Ethan left the arena, tired but happy. He looked up at the stars and thought of home, knowing he had already made a difference. Tomorrow he would return, ready to show the galaxy even more of what humans could do. The next day came with a bright sky over the alien city. The arena was even more crowded than before. News had spread quickly about the human who stood against the champion. People from other cities and even other worlds had come to watch. Ethan felt the difference right away. The crowd was no longer only curious or laughing at him. Now they waited to see what he could do. Many faces, human and alien, looked at him with hope or wonder. Ethan woke early. He washed his face with cold water and looked in the mirror, thinking about the fight ahead. He felt tired, but his heart was strong. He missed home, but he knew he was here for a reason. He wanted to show everyone that humans could be strong too. He put on his plain clothes and tied the metal ring from his sister onto a string around his neck. He promised himself he would do his best, no matter what happened in the arena. He walked to the arena with his friends, a small group of humans who worked on the space station. They wished him luck and told him they would cheer for him. One of them, a girl named Mia, gave him a piece of advice. "Remember, don't fight. Just to win, fight for what you believe in." Ethan nodded, knowing she was right. Lyra was also getting ready for the fight. She sat in a quiet room, away from her clan, thinking about what she had learned from Ethan. She remembered how simple his style was, but how hard it was to beat. She felt a strange respect for him, mixed with a wish to understand more. She knew the fight today would be even harder. Before the match, both fighters met outside the arena. Lyra looked at Ethan and gave a small bow. "Are you ready?" she asked. Ethan smiled and nodded. "Always ready to learn something new," he said. They walked into the arena together, side by side. The crowd cheered for them both, and for the first time, Ethan felt like he belonged. The judge stood in the center, waiting for the noise. To settle, he raised a hand and spoke in 3 languages so everyone could understand. "Today is the final match. The rules: show respect and fight with honor." Lyra and Ethan nodded. They stepped into the ring, standing across from each other. The judge signaled for them to begin. Lyra started the fight with slow, careful moves. She remembered how Ethan always waited, looking for her mistakes. She did not want to make it easy for him. She tested him with a few light jabs, moving from side to side. Ethan blocked each one, staying relaxed and ready. He watched Lyra's feet and her eyes, looking for any sign of a new attack. The crowd was silent, waiting for something big. Suddenly, Lyra tried a fast move, spinning to hit Ethan with her elbow. Ethan stepped back just in time, then came forward with a soft push, almost sending Lyra off balance. She smiled, surprised again by his timing. Ethan started to use his own attacks, but they were not like the fancy moves the crowd was used to. He moved forward with simple punches and kicks, always keeping his body safe. Lyra found it hard to guess what he would do next. She realized Ethan was not just blocking, he was trying to make her tired, step by step. After a few minutes, the pace of the fight grew faster. Lyra tried to surprise Ethan with a jump kick, but he moved aside. Ethan answered with a low sweep, almost catching her feet. The crowd cheered, excited to see the champion having to work so hard. Lyra's clan shouted advice, telling her to end the fight quickly, but Lyra ignored them. She wanted to win, but she wanted to do it the right way. She respected Ethan and knew that rushing would only help him. She focused on the fight, blocking out everything else. Ethan started to notice that Lyra was breathing harder. He was tired too, but he remembered what his teacher said sometimes. Winning a fight means simply staying on your feet longer than your enemy. He decided to test Lyra's patience. He made her chase him, moving around the ring, dodging her attacks. The crowd started to see what he was doing. Some people cheered for him, others for Lyra, but everyone watched closely. Lyra finally cornered Ethan near the edge of the ring. She moved in quickly, hoping to push him out and end the match. But Ethan waited for her to step too close, then spun to the side. Lyra stumbled and almost fell out of the ring herself. She caught her balance at the last moment, her face red with effort. Ethan took a breath and stepped back to the center. He could see the respect in Lyra's eyes. She nodded to him and he nodded back. They both understood this was no longer just a contest. It was a lesson for them and for everyone watching. The judge called for a short break. Ethan walked to his corner and took a sip of water. He looked up at the crowd. He saw his friends cheering and waving. He thought again of his sister and the promise he made to her. He knew he could not give up now. Lyra's clan talked quietly, but no one yelled this time. They saw that Lyra was giving her best, and they saw that Ethan deserved respect. Lyra wiped sweat from her face and smiled to herself. She had not enjoyed a fight like this in a long time. The final round started. Both fighters walked to the center. The judge raised his hand and dropped it to begin. Ethan and Lyra moved quickly, trading blows and blocks. Their bodies were tired, but their spirits were strong. Every move was watched by the crowd. The air felt thick with excitement. Suddenly, Lyra tried a new move, a feint to the left, then a fast kick to the right. Ethan almost missed it, but at the last second, he caught her leg and gently set her back on the ground. The crowd cheered louder than ever. Ethan could see Lyra was nearly out of energy. He was tired too, but he pushed himself to keep going. He tried a new move, stepping in close and tapping Lyra's shoulder, just as he did in the first fight. Lyra tried to spin away, but Ethan held his ground. She looked at him and laughed, breathless. "You're full of surprises," she said. Ethan grinned. "So are you." The two fighters kept moving, pushing each other to their limits. The crowd began to chant both their names. The judge watched carefully, ready to step in if needed. Lyra attacked one last time, putting all her energy into a spinning jump. Ethan caught her in midair and lowered her gently to the ground. Both fighters collapsed to their knees, exhausted. The judge stepped in and held up both their arms. "The match is over. Both fighters have shown great skill and honor. Today there are no losers." The crowd erupted in cheers. Ethan and Lyra stood up slowly, holding each other's hands. They bowed to the judge, to the crowd, and to each other. Ethan felt a strange happiness inside. He knew he had not won by points or by knockout, but he had earned respect from Lyra, from the crowd, and from himself. As they walked out of the arena together, Lyra leaned over and whispered, "I think you still have one more move to show me." Ethan smiled. "Maybe someday. For now, I'm just glad I could fight you." They left the arena side by side. The people watched them go, whispering about the day when a human stood with a champion and taught the galaxy something new. Ethan found his friends waiting for him outside. Mia hugged him and the others cheered. "You did it," Mia said. "You changed their minds." Ethan looked back at the arena, feeling tired but proud. He knew the real fight was just beginning, the fight to show everyone that humans belonged here, too. He walked away with his friends, the metal ring warm against his chest, thinking about the next challenge and the new respect he had won, not just for himself, but for all of humanity. The night after the big fight, Ethan did not sleep much. He lay on his small bed in the guest house, thinking about everything that had happened. He felt sore all over, but his heart was full. The sound of the crowd cheering still echoed in his ears. He thought about Lyra's words and the look in her eyes when she said he had more to show. He knew he would never forget this day. Early the next morning, a soft knock came at Ethan's door. He sat up quickly, wondering who it could be. When he opened the door, he found Lyra standing there, holding a small box. She looked less like a champion today and more like a friend. She wore simple clothes, not her fighting armor, and her hair was loose. "Can I come in?" she asked. Ethan nodded and stepped aside. Lyra sat on the edge of his bed, holding out the box. "This is for you," she said. "It's a gift from my clan. You have earned our respect." Ethan opened the box and found a silver band inside. It was decorated with tiny stones that sparkled in the light. He picked it up, feeling its weight. It was a symbol of honor among Lyra's people. Ethan felt moved by the gift. "Thank you," he said softly. "I'll wear it with pride," Lyra smiled. "You fought with honor. My clan wanted to give you something to show that we see you as an equal now. Not just a guest, but a real fighter." Ethan slipped the band onto his wrist, next to the ring from his sister. He looked up at Lyra. "Will your clan be angry with you for this?" he asked. Lyra shook her head. "They were upset yesterday, but now they are proud. You showed us that strength is not just about power. It's about heart and patience too." They sat together in silence for a moment. Lyra looked out the window at the morning sun. "The council wants to see you," she said. "They want to ask you about your fighting style. They think humans have something new to offer." Ethan felt a little nervous, but he agreed to go. He washed his face and dressed, then followed Lyra through the winding streets of the alien city. People they passed bowed their heads or waved at Ethan. Some even called his name. He was surprised to see so many smiles. He realized he had made a difference just by being himself. The council building was large and round, made from white stone and shining glass. Inside, important leaders from many clans waited to meet him. They sat at a long table, their faces serious but curious. Lyra stood beside Ethan and introduced him. "This is Ethan of Earth. He is the first human to fight in our tournament, and he showed us great skill." The head of the council, an old alien with bright green eyes, leaned forward. "We wish to understand your way of fighting," he said. "It is different from what we have seen before. Will you teach us?" Ethan felt surprised, but also honored. He thought about his teacher back on Earth and the simple lessons he learned. "My teacher always said to keep things simple," Ethan said. "Watch your opponent, wait for a mistake, and never waste energy. It's not about looking strong, but about being ready for anything." The council members nodded, listening closely. One asked, "Can you show us?" Ethan stood in the center of the room, moving slowly through the basic moves he had used in the fight. He showed them how to block, how to dodge, and how to turn an opponent's strength against them. Lyra joined him, helping to demonstrate. The council members watched carefully, taking notes. After a while, the council thanked Ethan, the head. Counselor said, "You have opened our eyes. We want to share your ways with our young fighters. Would you be willing to stay and teach?" Ethan thought for a moment. He missed home, but he saw how important this was. "I would like to help," he said, "but I am not the only one who can teach. There are many more humans with their own styles. Maybe someday we can all learn from each other." The council agreed, saying they would welcome more humans in the future. After the meeting, Lyra and Ethan walked back through the city. Children followed them, asking questions and trying to copy Ethan's moves. He laughed and showed them how to stand strong and stay balanced. They came to a small park where Lyra stopped and sat under a tall tree. Ethan joined her, watching the children play. Lyra looked thoughtful. "When I was young, I thought the only way to win was to be the strongest and the fastest. Now I see there are other ways too," Ethan nodded. "My teacher used to say that winning is not always the most important thing. Sometimes you win just by showing who you really are." They sat quietly for a long time. People came and went, but no one bothered them. Some brought food and water, thanking Ethan for inspiring them. He felt shy, but he also felt proud. Later that day, Lyra invited Ethan to her family's house for dinner. Her family was curious about Ethan and wanted to hear stories about Earth. He told them about his sister, about growing up in a busy city, and about learning to fight from an old man in a small gym. Lyra's parents listened with interest, asking many questions. Her little brother tried to copy Ethan's fighting stance, making everyone laugh. After dinner, Lyra's father spoke. "You have given us a great gift, Ethan. You showed us a new way to see each other. You are always welcome in our home." Ethan felt his eyes grow wet. He thanked them for their kindness. That evening, Lyra walked Ethan back to his guest house. The city was quiet now, the stars bright above them. "Tomorrow there is a festival in your honor," Lyra said. "Will you come?" Ethan smiled. "I'd like that." Lyra stopped outside his door. "You know, the fight changed me," she said softly. "I want to learn more, not just about fighting, but about people like you." Ethan nodded. "We can learn together," he said. "That's how things get better." Lyra smiled and waved goodbye. Ethan went inside and lay on his bed, thinking about the day. He realized he was not just a guest anymore. He was a friend and a teacher. He hoped his sister was watching, seeing how far he had come. The next day, the city was filled with music and bright colors. The festival was unlike anything Ethan had seen. People danced in the streets, wearing ribbons and carrying flags. Food stands lined the roads, selling dishes Ethan had never tasted before. He tried everything, laughing with the children who followed him everywhere. During the festival, Ethan was called to the center of the main square. The head of the council gave a speech about courage, respect, and learning from others. He called Ethan a bridge between worlds. The crowd cheered, waving their hands in the air. Ethan felt nervous standing in front of so many people, but he spoke from his heart. "Thank you for welcoming me. I hope that more humans and more of your people can become friends. Together we can make great things happen." After his speech, Lyra joined him on stage. She took his hand and raised it high, and the crowd cheered even louder. It was clear that a new time had begun, one where humans and aliens could stand side by side. As the festival went on into the night, Ethan danced and laughed with his new friends. He looked up at the stars and thought about his home on Earth. He knew he would visit again one day, but for now, he belonged here too. He was part of something bigger than himself. That night, as the festival lights faded and the city grew quiet, Ethan walked through the empty streets, feeling happy and at peace. He had come here as a stranger, but now he was a part of their story, and they were a part of his. He wondered what tomorrow would bring, but he was ready for it, whatever it was. The morning sun rose over the city and bathed the streets in warm light. Ethan woke feeling rested and curious about the day ahead. He put on the silver band from Lyra's clan and the metal ring from his sister. He thought of both homes and felt a new sense of belonging. Today would be the last day of his stay on this world before he moved on, but he knew this was not goodbye. He met Lyra at the edge of the training ground. The soft grass felt cool under his feet. Other fighters and students gathered to watch. Word had spread that Ethan would teach a final lesson before he left. Lyra stood beside him, wearing simple clothes and a proud smile. Ethan bowed to the group. He spoke softly. "Thank you all for coming. Today I want to share one last move with you. It is not just for fighting. It is for life." The students looked at him with wide eyes. Many had never seen human moves before. He began by showing a simple stance. His feet were shoulder-width apart and his knees bent just slightly. His hands were open and near his chest. He said, "This stance is about balance. It helps you stay steady when things feel hard." He held the stance for a moment, then moved smoothly into a step forward. He explained each part in simple words. The way he shifted weight from one leg to the other. The way he used his whole body, not just his arms. He showed how to breathe slowly, to keep calm under pressure. The students copied him carefully. Lyra joined him and showed how her own style mixed with his. She stepped forward in the same stance, then added a spin she had learned from Ethan's ways. She said, "When you learn something new, you can make it your own?" The students nodded, impressed. Ethan then showed the special final move. He called it the Earth Turn because it came from his home planet. He stepped forward, rotated on his heel, and used the spin to change direction quickly. He ended with a soft palm push that could unbalance an opponent gently but firmly. He said, "This move is not to hurt. It is to guide someone away, to end conflict without damage." Some students looked surprised. They expected a strong strike, not a gentle push. Ethan smiled. Sometimes the best way to win is to end the fight without pain. He asked for a volunteer. A young alien with green skin and bright eyes stepped forward. Ethan guided the student through the motion slowly. The student tried it and nearly stumbled. Ethan clapped and said, "Good, now try again." After a few tries, the student performed the move smoothly. The crowd applauded. Lara stepped forward and offered to guide another volunteer. She led a small group through the stance and the earth turn. Ethan watched with pride as his friend and ally helped teach his style. He felt that together they had built a bridge between worlds. As the lesson ended, the head counselor arrived with Lara's parents. They bowed to Ethan and thanked him in deep voices. The counselor said, "You have given us a great gift. Your last move will be taught in our academy. You will always have a home here." Ethan bowed back. "I am honored. I will carry your lessons with me too." After the ceremony, Ethan packed his few belongings. Lyra helped him fold his clothes and place them in a small bag. He looked at her and said, "I wish I could stay longer." Lyra smiled sadly. "You will come back, I promise." This is not the end. They walked through the city toward the spaceport. People lined the streets to say farewell. Children ran beside them, waving ribbons and calling Ethan's name. He waved back, feeling both happy and sad. At the spaceport, Ethan's friends waited with him. Mia gave him a small book she wrote in. Inside were drawings of Ethan's moves and notes in simple writing. She said, "This way you will always remember us, and we can show your people how much you taught us." Ethan hugged her. "Thank you, this means a lot." Lyra's family came next. Her little brother pressed a small wooden charm into Ethan's hand. "For good luck," he said. Ethan smiled and tucked it into his bag. Lyra took Ethan's hand and looked into his eyes. "Remember what you taught me. Strength is more than power. It is respect and kindness." Ethan nodded, feeling tears in his eyes. The announcement came. At boarding would begin soon. Ethan hugged everyone again. He turned to Lyra for one last moment. He whispered, "Care to see the last?" She laughed softly and nodded. He showed her the earth turn one more time in the air. His body spun and he ended with a gentle palm. Lyra caught his hand at the end, steadying him. She said, "That was beautiful. I will never forget it." Ethan stepped onto the ship and looked back at the crowd. He saw Lyra waving and his friends cheering. He felt proud. He settled into his seat and watched the planet shrink below him as the engines roared. During the flight, Ethan thought of home. He thought of his sister and the ring she gave him. He thought of Lara and the band she gave him. He felt that his journey had changed him forever. He looked at his hands and remembered every lesson he learned and taught. As the stars filled the windows, Ethan closed his eyes and imagined the future. He saw humans and aliens training side by side. He saw new tournaments where strength was measured by heart as much as by skill. He saw a galaxy where respect crossed all boundaries. The ship landed at a far station where new adventures awaited. Ethan stepped out and took a deep breath of a different world's air. He smiled and whispered to himself, "This is only the beginning." He walked toward the terminal, ready for whatever came next. He carried with him the moves he learned, the friends he made, and the promise of many more stories to come.